think I did it right. I'm not entirely sure.
I think so too. I actually forgot the order of everything anyway, so welcome back to the RTFM show, guys.
It just sounds like you did it right.
How long has it been? We've been on like more than about a month hiatus.
Yeah.
More than 2 weeks, dude.
It felt like 2 weeks, dude.
2 weeks ago is when I went on vacation.
So 3 weeks.
No, a month ago is when I went on vacation.
Huh?
Yeah. It's been 4 missed shows, I think,
don't
total. Something like that.
And then I was
Jeez.
out for like, what, 5 days at least?
Because you had the COVID.
Yeah, I'm so... It's funny because I'm
Congratulations on your booster.
I know, I'm more annoyed at the fact that I got it after not having ever had it for like, since DreamHack,
You
honestly.
probably had it, just minorly.
I've probably had it. I probably honestly think that DreamHack, like when I came back, it felt the same as when I recently had Rona. So like I'm pretty sure that I had
Rona. It's a cool kid.
I got
you got the Rona.
I got the early access
My
Rona.
Corona.
We should have played that song when the lady was coughing up a storm in front of us, setting up her computers.
Gosh.
I'm pretty sure it was literally from her. Like, there's no. So when we went to DreamHack Anaheim in 2020, right before
That was in February, by the way.
yeah, it was literally like the last thing we ever did before the world changed forever. But yeah, like we were setting up our computers, and there's this lady that was literally just like just like 90-year-old smoker, and she's only 60. Like
It sound like
it was, dude, it was so bad. Like you could hear like the globules of phlegm in her throat, and she's just like not covering her mouth, not even coughing into an elbow or anything. And me and Jay like looked at each other, and we're like, well, there's the con crud instantly.
Oh, no, we didn't know about Corona yet.
No, con crud. Like just a
con-
regular.
yeah.
Like I already knew that. I was like, okay, I'm probably gonna get sick after this because it's 2,500 people in one room. But
Did she sound like the smoker from Left 4 Dead?
dude, yeah, like literally, it was like just the most stereotypical, just gross cough and just.
I apologize for the opening topic today, everyone.
Oh yeah, wait. What was the top? How did we ADD? How long we haven't been doing RTFM?
I was like, we didn't ADD here. You ADD'd here.
Yeah, I ADD here, but like
It was a joint effort. I kind of.
it's like 2.5 out of 3 of us have ADD. So
2.5.
yeah, because Nick sort of
2.5 males out of every 2 males have ADD. And in the inability to add.
The
Get
irony
ADD
that,
without
I was
adding.
gonna say the irony that ADD spells add.
I got that 8K HDD.
HDD? HDRD?
You have the 8K ADD?
Yeah.
You're gonna need a new cable.
It would be high deficit range.
High deficit range.
High deficit range disorder, I guess.
High deficit attention disorder range. HDRDR.
HDR ADHD.
Dude,
It hurts my head. Stop it.
It started to sound like the freaking like the anti-aliasing crap, like DLSS and XCSS.
CSSX. SMAA.
Oh yeah, remember Doom had like
ADDLSS.
ADD. Yeah.
So when you turn that on, you get extra ADD.
Yeah.
No, your ADD's consistent.
But does it throw in extra frames of ADD?
No.
No, that's not frame generation.
That's
yeah,
what it is, right?
Yeah.
You gotta upgrade it. ADDLSS 3?
Yeah,
right now?
3.
Yeah.
Yeah, ADDLSS 3.
You have to have a 4D series brain.
We can't afford
Well,
that.
Overpriced brain. Dad, that's like a stealth insult. Like your brain's overpriced, bro. Doesn't perform as good.
Has your brain been scalped?
Oh gosh.
Oh my god.
I love the slow descent into laughter. The more you tried to not.
Yeah. Because I already laugh at the moment anything's funny, and so I'm like trying to stop, and it makes it worse. Anyway, talking about a descent into chaos.
There's a game called Descent.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's for the FTFA. It's like a section. Don't talk. I'm not gonna talk about it.
Spoiler alert.
Yeah, spoiler.
That's not even the same game.
No, because somebody asked us
It's
what our
FTFA,
title.
by the way, not ATFM, RTA.
I thought I said I can't talk today.
It's rubbed off, finally.
Yeah, it's Jay's Insomnia like computer build plus the Satan PC that you guys haven't seen yet. But it's just funnier to refer to that
The
and not
Satan
give any
PC.
context. Yeah, the Satan PC.
I have to wonder if he's noticed, like, oh, I just got kicked off Steam. Okay, I'm going to let him be in my
yeah, he's
Steam.
probably testing. Dude, yeah, like my brain's so messed up editing all those because like because your brain has to go through the adventure again. And then I was with you filming that same PC for the past like 3 days of troubleshooting. Yeah, it's gonna be a good video. It's one of those where you think you solved the problem, and then we do that exact same thing, and then
No, it's no, without spoiling the video. It's we know where the problem lies, but we can't explain it because the problem doesn't follow the product.
yeah. It's it'll be fun.
Yeah.
It'll be fun. Trust.
It's definitely one of those. It's fun.
Let's just say I've had a million people over the years reach out to me and say, my computer's acting very weird. If I send it to you, will you fix it? And the problem is never weird enough for me to say, yeah, send it to me. It's always been, no, sorry, we don't do that.
Now.
And it's like, wow, that problem is bizarre. Here's my address. And then the PC showed up and I went, this is happening.
Yeah. And then it was great because like you kind of, you know, with our level of like PC experience, you kind of go into troubleshooting like, okay, I'm pretty sure that these steps are going to fix it. And then they don't. And then you're like, wow, it really is this dumb. It really is Satan's PC.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was a whole adventure of discovery and everything. Related to what I'm sure you wanted to do that computer.
You forgot your tablet today, huh?
Yeah, I did forget my tablet. So this is
I didn't forget mine.
wait, hold on.
That's okay.
All right, I got my tablet now.
Just let it go.
Is it a touchscreen?
All right,
No.
so
And that's mine.
you're not using
Fine.
it. I forgot my tablet. It's my tablet now.
Whatever.
So, like, I was obviously, you know, just down the rabbit hole of YouTube and science stuff and all that usual stuff. So I found out. Remember how a few episodes?
Can I interject? I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
go for it.
I'm sorry. Anyone in the chat right now that has the Nextdoor app knows how stupid your neighbors are.
Oh yeah, I honestly.
Do you have any idea the amount of discussions taking place in the Nextdoor app?
Oh, in your neighborhood, because your neighborhood's like foo-foo, like.
My neighborhood's
Super-
My neighborhood's stupid and has money.
Yeah.
So don't ever think somebody's like quote unquote financial success also equals intelligence.
IGN 10 out of 10.
Proof in the pudding right here. Okay.
Yeah, but you're proving the invert.
So
You can be successful without being intelligent.
So for those that
didn't
love
mean- no,
for
that's
those
kind
that
of
love
mean.
looking at the stars and the planets and the moon and stuff.
Oh no, I can see where this is going.
So first of all, the whole balloon thing already has people looking at the sky going, "What's that?" By anything that's ever been in the sky ever.
That's the moon. Oh no.
So for those of you that like stars and planets and stuff, you know Venus and Jupiter last night were very close together, making it look much brighter in the sky than it normally is, right? The amount of discussions last night of people arguing over the fact that it's not planets, it's aliens.
In the neighborhood app.
Yeah, next door.
Oh. I kind of want to get it just
No,
like
seriously,
jumping on the chat.
That's all the reason. The only reason I got it.
Can I just bring it up and read it?
I've never posted anything to Nextdoor, but it's fun reading. Like,
Oh, I'm a shit poster up there now
there's. Oh, I'm glad.
because
yeah.
I can't anymore. I'm
love
sorry.
seeing this.
I'm sorry. It's been all over the news and stuff that, hey, look to the west because Jupiter and Venus are going to be very like close in the sky and it's going to be a spectacular sight to see.
Speaking of, if you guys want a Twitter account to follow, Best of Nextdoor is great because they just repost.
You won't be able to handle your neighbors.
No, that's why Best of Nextdoor is great because it's everyone else's neighbors, not yours.
Oh.
You don't find out how stupid yours are. You just find how stupid neighbors are.
Oh, I already know, but I want to see what everyone else's neighbors are like.
I feel like
Dude, I see like so many that are just like, oh my god, the same car keeps driving past my place at 8 a.m. What is happening? And they're like, they probably go to work.
I can't. Yeah.
like seriously, like post,
This
like,
person's suspicious. What'd they do? They walked by my house.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, no, I honestly feel like people have just looked for reasons to post up there. I honestly think people just look for reasons.
And there's like so much like subtle...
I can't find it now. I think maybe they got like hate bombed into oblivion, and so they maybe removed their post.
Or what happens is sometimes if the thread just devolves into like everyone talking crap.
The bottom line is like, wait,
gets
is this
deleted.
it right here? Oh yeah. Any idea what these two lights are in the sky?
Dude.
One person even replied, look, with showing the arc of like the planets and
Yeah.
stuff. And this person, I got to find this one reply. It was like, yes, Jupiter and Venus. I read that last time they aligned. Rome fell.
Oh my god.
But no, this person was like, oh no, here we go.
Maybe they're next door.
I'm sorry. And this is a This is the size of the response.
Wow.
I'm sorry, but these are not planets. I was in blank, and it's their neighborhood, and I looked, and it looked like they were to the west of me and floating around blank avenue in major city out there, or major street out there where you live, actually. The lights were very low, almost like it was a blimp. I called my friend who was on her way home and asked her to look for them because she lives over there, and she saw them south of her. That means she just, first of all, doesn't know what direction she's facing, because the planets are always going to be to the west, no matter where you are in the Earth when they're in the sky at that time of day. So now, I guess if
the Earth rotates.
Yeah. But my point is, they are going to be in the east in the daytime, so we won't see them that way. But anyway, they were very low, not high up in the sky at all. By the time I got to her house, 5 minutes later, they had moved north a little. At west. So we decided to try and find them. As we were driving down blank towards blank, the object got farther and farther away. We noticed that we thought it was a helicopter with a red light. And red and white flashing lights come and hover over the top of the lights. As we kept driving, the two white lights got lower until they disappeared.
Dude, every sentence we
could still see the helicopter or whatever it was hovering over the lights area where the lights were. We even drove up to the top of blank to see if we could see it, and it disappeared over the horizon.
I feel like my brain is getting hurt by the stupidity that person
we don't know where they went, although we still saw the helicopter with the red light flashing.
Stay in school.
In the distance. It was the weirdest thing.
Stay in school.
It was the weirdest thing I've ever seen. And from what I saw, you cannot convince me that those two were planets.
Dude, no matter how fast I drive, the moon keeps chasing me.
The other person says, we pointed Google Sky to it, and it was Jupiter and Venus.
I can't. My head, actually physically hurts.
Yeah, that's hurting me, dude.
My God. I saw them 2 weeks ago on my phone, so I zoomed in with my Galaxy GS22, and it looked like there was a blue umbrella.
Oh my gosh, dude.
I pointed my phone camera at the sky. It wasn't a planet.
Yeah, I could tell.
I zoomed in the pixels on my phone camera.
Dude, and because the S22 is known
Do you see my reply? Don't read it out loud. Just read it. Just into yourself.
Oh, was that to OP? Mm-hmm. Oh my God. They really are though, dude. Oh,
I told you I'm a shit poster now up there because my neighbors are really dumb. This neighbor took off in their car and tried to chase the planets.
They should keep going until
going west. I still like every clue.
Keep going west until the ocean gets there. Keep going.
I still love how every clue they gave was that they were getting farther away and going down. It's like that. Because we're turning this way, and they're going, and their friend is like, look. I like how their friends were like, so this way is west in this room. Hey, friend, look west. You see these lights? Yeah, they're to my south.
Dude.
Facing east.
Now, the reason why I'm laughing is I love my wife with every fiber of my being, but my wife does not know northeast, southwest. She knows left, right. Yeah. Okay. So if I told my wife,
it's just one of those.
Look to the west, she would literally be like, which way is that? And I'll be like, I don't know which way you're facing. So anyway.
Absolute versus relative coordinates, guys.
But I love the Nextdoor app because it's
entertainment.
It's literally proof that giving open form communication to the public was probably bad.
Yeah. No, it's great. It's
because during the balloon era, that was last month. We don't know what March brings yet.
Right.
February was aliens and balloons, okay?
Yeah. Oh my God.
The reason why I say aliens and balloons is someone literally took a photo of the sky and they were like, check out this crazy hexagonal orb thing in the sky.
Is it the lens flare?
Yeah, it was a lens flare. And the thing was, they were like, look, there's one in front of a cloud and one behind the cloud.
I don't have any more faces to palm.
That one, I actually gave it an educational reply. I'm like, what you're seeing is actually not.
Oh, you actually told them?
I'm like, I said, I explained how lens elements work. Now, if you ever want to know how many elements are actually in the lens of your phone, count the sides, and that's how many lens elements they were. And they actually replied back, that was very insightful. Thank you for educating me. I can see now the mistake that I made. And I was like, I like this neighbor, and I gave them a little heart. Nice. But another person was like 3 or 4 people were like, I can concur what you're seeing is actually a light bouncing inside your lens. Yeah. You know? But they were just like, look at this crazy orb thingy. In fact, I want to find the photo, see if it's still up there.
Yeah.
No. It was, I could see why people were like, oh my God, aliens, right?
I feel like if I hopped on it, it would just be me on Twitter again, being salty at everybody.
It is. It's
Yeah, but the
basically-
difference is these are people that like.
And I live next to.
Nextdoor is
Yep.
Nextdoor is more boomer Twitter than Facebook is boomer Twitter. That's what I love about
should
it.
just
Like
go knock
I
on their
literally
door at that
only have
point.
it just to scroll through and
Well,
laugh.
there was one this morning that was someone complaining that our law enforcement isn't doing enough because a hawk stole their chihuahua. Like a hawk came down and was like with the chihuahua and flew away, and they were like, "Why isn't animal control doing anything about this?" And it's like,
That's user error, dude.
That's
you don't leave
nature.
your dog.
User
Yeah.
error, yeah.
You don't leave your dog out unattended, especially if it's that small.
well, they said the dog got out, but still, the
Okay,
dog was
that's
out.
still
But you
on
know
them
what?
for letting the
Guess
dog
what
out.
a freaking desert hawk is going to do to anything smaller than it?
Yeah.
Food. And with all the snow we got, I guess this post is so far back, but I guess with like the snow and stuff that we got, it's like,
Yeah, I gotta look for food.
yeah, I'm sorry, but that little like 2 pound, 3 pound chihuahua was food to a freaking full grown hawk.
Yeah, that hawk was like, ooh, a
No,
porterhouse.
but that neighbor went on to say the hawk is sitting on a street light right now and it's just hunting for its next like dinner, and it's like that's exactly what the hawk is doing. Yes.
This car drives past my house at 8 a.m. every
I think that's when you gotta get David Attenborough just to show up at the door and narrate what the hawk is doing on that lamppost. for
No.
them.
Cool.
Yeah.
Wow.
I don't know why.
Morgan Freeman?
Jay had a buffer under her foot.
It's Morgan Freeman, right? I heard Corbin Freeman and then George Foreman. Like these were
Oh
the
my
names that were
God.
coming to mind. But I'm like, this isn't right. George Foreman doesn't narrate.
His mic is Gordon Freeman.
Yeah, but I said Corbin Freeman. And I was like, that's not right. And then George Foreman.
Now I can't stop laughing imagining Half-Life 2, all of Half-Life with Morgan Freeman instead of Gordon Freeman. But he's wearing the glasses and the suit and everything.
Look at this crowbar.
Yeah. Dude, it would arguably be a better game.
Truth would be told, he looked at the crowbar.
What if you know what? I want Samuel L. Jackson to be it.
Jeez.
Yeah, I want Samuel L.
Rated
Jackson as
R.
a playable character in every
Rated
game.
R version.
Yeah.
Aliens in Black Mesa.
Okay, now that
Imagine
I've,
him at Hogwarts.
now
Spell your arms, mother.
I don't remember asking you.
wow.
Yeah, he's got the wand interrogating the guy.
I've had enough of these mother effing neighbors on this mother effing neighbor app.
Everyone strap in. I'm about to close my account. Dude, yeah, no, Nextdoor is endless.
I mean, I completely derailed you from your topic, but I just had to.
Yeah, no, I mean, and Nextdoor is just,
I can't really read the chat during this one, but I have to wonder how many people in chat were like, oh yeah, Nextdoor is worth nothing but just the laughs. If you can remove the thought from the fact that these people live near me.
yeah.
You know, because you see stupid people online, you're like, thank God they're online and I don't have to deal with
And
them.
they're not
These are
here.
people
Yeah.
that are like literally in your neighborhood.
Oh my gosh, I can imagine, like, it just depending on the day, if I read something really dumb, I'd just be staring at them like the most ridiculous way if they're outside. I'm just
No,
like,
the thing was like,
you posted that.
there was like a neighbor rivalry taking place on Nextdoor, and it was basically a post that was like, it escalated quick. And what I mean by quick, it was like, hey neighbor, so I was walking past my neighbor's house, blah blah blah, and he shot me with a BB gun. Should I report this to the police? No, I know. So my first thought was like, yes.
Yeah.
No, but then that neighbor was like, oh, don't tell them the whole story. As you were walking past my house and mooned my 12-year-old child and pulled your like adult male bare butt out in my neighborhood. And I've told you not to do this repeatedly. And I'm like,
Oh, it changes things.
yeah. And then that person
yeah.
replied with, I will do whatever I want, wherever I want. And then I was like, wow, so this turned into neighbor shot me to I'm being sexually indecent in front of his minor child,
Yeah,
and he
yeah.
shot me in the butt with a BB gun. And then I replied like, yes, you should call the police, but on yourself.
So there's a this is reminding me, there's a Reddit subreddit called "Am I the Asshole?" and you could ask like, you know,
Yeah.
you put your
Yeah.
And one of the abbreviations.
There's
for
so
the
many
answers-
Karens up there asking if they're the Karen.
Yeah.
And it's like, yes, you are.
There's one of the answer abbreviations is ESO, which is everyone sucks, or ESH, everyone sucks here, and
Yeah.
that's that situation where it's just when both people are stupid, you can just put ESH.
But I immediately, like, once I read like the books that were being posted about
Yeah.
like this particular neighbor, apparently this is like a neighboring neighborhood, so not super close.
Dang, so there's even lore and stuff. I want to join your.
There were lots of
neighborhood.
neighbors that were like, "No, we've seen the way you act walking down the street, being indecent. Stop acting like you're the victim here." And but the
Wow,
person,
dang,
yeah,
teams got picked.
yes. But the thing was,
Holy
like,
crap,
the
that's
guy that
amazing.
initially started the post just got completely obliterated.
Yeah,
because apparently, like, once people realized who it was, they're like, "Oh no, you're a shithead, and you deserve everything coming your way."
Dang, so you had a reputation.
Yeah. Yeah, and the funny thing
Yeah.
was when I clicked on his profile and looked at his photo, I'm like, oh yeah, I can see the D in the bag now. This is like in this photo.
Yeah.
But the thing was like apparently the guy's been going around and just being like lewd,
Just for no
just
reason.
lewd. Yeah. And I don't know if this is alleged. This guy took a dump on another person's lawn. So like, literally,
I hope the BB hit him in the ass. Like that's just
While
the
his pants
funny-
were down?
Yeah, like that just would be like the icing.
but see,
on the cake.
I've got two daughters. I mean, obviously, I wouldn't want a male child being exposed to another male being stupid. But I have two minor daughters, and if a grown man was walking past my neighborhood and literally pulling his pants down,
Yeah.
he'd be lucky if all I did was shoot him with a BB gun. I mean, he's gonna get a size 13 up that rectum if he does that shit in front of my house.
He's even, it's like in a video game when the weak spot gets exposed and it glows. His butt just and Jay's foot's just like target locked.
Oh my gosh.
Don't make
But
me
it's
choke.
like-
Don't make me choke you with my foot up your butt.
And then it's like smashing. He just goes flying and then.
So you were saying,
Yeah, wait, you actually want to go back to my topic just because it'd be hilarious how completely different it is?
Yeah, dude, let's do please.
So, you ever wondered how to MSI afterburner a nuclear bomb? Because that's what I found out. They made...
What?
Basically, I got on the topic because remember how we talked about planned obsolescence?
did I miss this topic?
Yeah.
Probably did.
No, I was actually caught by the JayzTwoCents topic.
So, all three of us have access to our shared document for this show. And then Jay's says, Jay sucks topic.
Oh no, I saw your planned obsolescence nuke implosion stuff. I didn't see anything about MSI afterburner.
So it's because this is the most literal planned obsolescence computer I've ever seen.
Okay.
It lasts for all of 10 microseconds, which is 0.00001 seconds.
It's designed to live that long.
So it has a bunch of fiber optic sensors that tell, like, it's for making sure that the explosives that cause the nuke to implode and then actually go off are all going off in the right order and everything. So it's a radio telemetry computer. But I just love the fact that they had to write and design software that was literally only going to live for 10 microseconds.
Wow.
And then they were able to, like, one of my favorite things is that they were able to get away with, like, because obviously you know how you can have a buffer overflow if you try to store a number that's too big into
Right.
the memory that you have. And then, like, for things like counters and timers and stuff like that, like, obviously it'll run out if you let it run for too long. But it was like they didn't have to worry about it because the computer just gets evaporated.
Yeah.
After, like, before the RAM runs out. So it's just a one time.
It can do its job up until the boom.
Yep. And so I think it's like nanosecond scale for the timing of the explosion. So they can actually, they get like a radio readout because it's just transmitting live.
Oh, it's not
when
in
it goes
Planck
off.
time.
Dude. It's only running at like 10 megahertz or 100 megahertz or something like that. But yeah, it just blows my mind that, like, imagine.
Yeah, because it's not going to get through that many cycles.
Yeah. But it's like, because we do that sort of stuff all the time with computers, is like, you know, looking at the stats and stuff like that. But it's just like, oh yeah, I guess I've never tried to diagnose a nuclear bomb. It's like, I guess you have to kind of come up with bespoke stuff for that. You know, like this computer that just gets destroyed every time they test it. But yeah, it literally just survives for the 10 microseconds. It just blasts out the radio waves of the sensors and then it stops existing. And so I was like, yeah, I guess that is planned obsolescence, literally.
Well, the whole array stops existing.
Yeah, the whole and like
Everything around it.
within, like, yeah, 500 meters or so.
500 miles, dude. Yep.
But yeah, like, it's just, yeah, how would you MSI afterburner and go look at the specs of a nuclear bomb? I guess that's how you do it. A computer that is designed
The irony
to die.
that it's called afterburner.
Yeah.
I don't think MSI afterburner was intended for that use.
Yeah, I know, right?
think
I don't think it would even run on that computer if you were taking the joke too literally. But yeah,
Can we
100
plan to
megahertz,
obsolescence some of our neighbors?
10 microseconds. I mean, you could if you put them in a nuke. I guess they would planned obsolescence once it goes off. But.
It just sounds like you're suggesting we put them in a microwave.
that just sounds like first degree murder.
Oh, like the hamster.
That just sounds first degree. You're planning it.
As long as we don't plan it, we can get second degree at least.
Maybe a giant hawk will come down and then take them away. That would be the funniest
A
thing.
giant hawk
Yeah.
launched from a balloon with lights
Oh my
hanging from
God.
it and a helicopter following it.
And the balloon has a label on it that says Venus.
No, it
It's
says
like painted yellow.
It says alien.
I just like how last month though Amazon was like it was trending inflatable balloons for me,
Oh yeah.
So funny. So it was Nick the whole time?
It's like, you want a balloon? I'm like, I posted up in the group chat, like, hey, I'm about to get an air show in my
Yeah, I
backyard.
saw that. The one he's about to get an F-22 air show.
Yeah,
There was a balloon going out of the yard.
Oh wait, did your homies figure out the DCS mission with the balloons yet?
No,
Oh my
yeah.
goodness. Somebody created one?
Someone in our group of friends is making a DCS mission where we have to pop a bunch of balloons. That's gonna be sick.
Oh, so remember how I said, why the heck didn't they just use guns? Why'd they use a missile?
Yeah, I wondered that too.
Yeah, they actually responded to that.
Why?
Well, they being the military didn't respond, but a correspondent apparently did. Apparently something similar happened once with a balloon that went off track and had to be shot down. But apparently it took something like 400 rounds and was still floating. And so it was I think it was the Canadian government this happened with. Somebody in chat can correct me,
Right.
but it was another
So
country.
they actually found out that
They actually found like, you know what? We're just not going to look dumb. We're just going to shoot a Sidewinder through it, which is what they did.
Yeah.
But yeah, apparently they just kept wrapping it and it just kept floating. Because maybe the Pierces was just too fine, you know?
yeah, because rubber.
Because remember, that balloon
yeah.
was like the size of 3 buses long. So it would...
No, yeah, it was like remember the Slow Mo Guys episode where they shot the tank rounds? And remember how one of the tank rounds goes through the tire and it left like a hole that
Yeah.
big? And it's a tank round. It's like an actual
Yeah.
artillery
The
shell.
tire was like, floop.
Yeah, but the tire's whoop.
Yeah.
Maybe that's what the balloon was doing.
Yeah, so
funny, though.
that's why they decided to shoot because the article was something along the lines of like, why did the U.S. military shoot a $400,000 missile at a balloon?
And also, if you think about it, if you're
And
just,
then one of them missed, remember?
Yeah.
You heard about that, right? The one above Alaska missed.
like, I was
Thank
gonna
God
say,
for the auto-destruct on it.
Well, that's what I was gonna say. Like the cannon rounds don't have that.
No,
so,
they land somewhere.
Yeah, they're landing somewhere. Yeah, you pull the trigger, they're going somewhere. It's like that Mass Effect guy. Like you pull the trigger on this,
Oh
you
yeah.
are ruining
Someone in
somebody's
chat
day.
is saying Canadians shot over 1,000 rounds at one balloon and they didn't work.
Dude, that's like the whole magazine. Dude,
Jeez.
imagine just sitting there like, why is it not?
And this isn't
popping?
and this isn't a video game. You're not getting audible feedback, haptic feedback, or
Yeah.
to know you're hitting it either. You're just like,
Markers?
"Brrr," but it's still floating. You're like, am I hitting it? What's happening here?
And most planes only carry like maybe 10 seconds straight of ammunition.
Yeah, cannons are a little bit obsolete in today's.
Yeah.
Most air superiority warfare does not take place where the enemies actually see each other anymore
Yeah,
these days.
I saw like somebody on Twitter like say that, or they were like, what? Like, if the A-10's cannon is half of the thrust of the engines or whatever, then like, why don't, like, can they just not hold it down for that long and then it slows them down too much? And it's just like,
That's why they have to dive.
no, there's not enough ammo for you to slow the plane down.
Well, that's also why they go into dive. Not just because they're shooting at the ground normally, but
Yeah.
the dive and the dive angle is very specific to all of that factor.
Yeah, and it probably helps with the tanks too, because the
Now,
top
I can
side-
tell you DCS is probably the closest I'm ever going to be in my life to flying an A-10 because, one, I don't fit in the thing. But I can tell you DCS models it where if I hold the trigger down too long, the plane literally starts and it starts getting the wingtip.
Well, yeah, it'll slow down, but I mean, like, if you're at flight speed and then you empty your mag, it's not going to slow you down.
Now, I'm
enough
not
to
a very
die.
good pilot, so I had to go really slow to try and keep the crosshairs where I wanted them to. So I started getting wingtip with it.
Oh wow, you were actually stalling yourself.
yeah.
That's funny.
Yeah.
Okay, so get good at flying the A-10, and then you won't stall yourself.
I was getting good at the things that didn't matter, like dogfighting with that cannon, you know,
I still remember like
trying to land it on an aircraft
I still
carrier.
remember watching a Sidewinder go up your butt, and then you still kept flying, and I was like, "There's no like." I watched it go in, like I pretty much watched it go like into the engine and everything.
Well, yeah, because we were in Discord, and you're like, here you go. We're like, I'm good. I'm good.
Yeah, it takes a good hit.
Half my instrument stopped working.
It doesn't survive a F-14 being a Sidewinder though.
No.
Oh, I figured out how to do sidewinders with the F-16. So
Oh, the
now-
off-bore
Yeah.
shooting.
Oh, with using your helmet?
Yeah, I'm lethal now, but it's really cool.
But it was like that.
Yeah, because it's cheating.
You just have to look and wait for tone,
know, it's
and then
so
like
cheap.
let it go. It's like, oh,
Well, it's like that time you hit me with the Sidewinder. It
Yeah.
blew off an engine, blew off part of a wing, part of my tail. I had no landing gear.
Yeah, I was watching your thing just leaving a smoke trail with a wingtip missing, and I'm like, it's still flying.
Well, I lost part of the vertical stabilizer on the right side.
Yeah.
I lost the engine on the right side. I lost part of the wing on the right side. My gear stopped working. I had no hydraulics. Almost all my instruments went dark, and I was able to.
I hit you
because I
with
was over
your-
water.
Yeah.
and I was able to actually turn the plane and get it back over land and do the A-10 belly landing.
Yeah.
And I got out. Remember, I was walking around like, "Hey guys, I'm good."
Because I hit you.
And I think one of you shot me like as a person, but
dude, that's what. Geneva Convention, bro. You're not supposed to, that's like the one thing you're not supposed to.
It was in Georgia, the country, not the state. Although what I'm describing could have also probably taken place in Georgia.
Yeah. You see Jay's parachute? Oh, it's a weather balloon. All these sidewalks.
There's an alien attached to that balloon.
I saw this like indie game dev that was making a combat flight sim, and he was like, "So I accidentally made pilots targetable," and then it showed like the HUD with the missile lock on a pilot parachuting, and it's like,
No, it's got the facial recognition like our new camera.
yeah, like the autofocus.
Locks onto your eye.
All the replies were like, "Oh, cool! So there's a war crime option now." He's like, "I don't know if I'm gonna leave it in, but it is pretty funny to just lock on." I don't think a missile could actually track a pilot though. Like I don't.
I would hope not.
I don't think that's
Hey,
enough.
if we load it up with the new camera sensor.
It depends. Am I having a gassy day or a non-gassy day?
Yeah. AIM 9X Block 2. It'll be that it tracks pilots.
There's the war crime.
Instead of Fox 2, it's
sensor
J2.
yeah, the
Oh
war crime
my
sensor
God.
pod.
You have to.
It only.
It only locks on
You
the
have
pieces.
to. You have to click a disclaimer.
I'm freaking a war crime lantern pod only locks onto civilians and pilots. Like it doesn't lock onto the planes at all. Just people on the ground. It's like
my God.
rerouting you to nearest hospital to bomb. It's like, bro.
Bruh.
Yeah. So.
Just like that.
Anyways.
Just like that. Demonetized.
I know, right? Yeah. Don't shoot pilots. I mean, don't shoot people
Don't
in
shoot
general.
anybody.
Yeah, but
DC
In a video
Spawn was
game, it's
fun,
okay.
Yeah.
yeah, in a video game, it's okay. Yeah, I do want to. I'll probably reinstall it once the balloon mission gets back.
I know.
I
I'll
actually,
let you
as
know
a-
when we find it.
when I was installing games on my system, now that it's done, I hovered on DCS for a second. I'm like, I didn't, but I might reinstall it.
Yeah.
I was thinking about it because I haven't used that HOTAS in a long time,
like
and apparently it works better with VR now, right?
Yeah.
yeah, I think so.
Because remember back when we were playing it, VR was like a puke fest if you turned your head.
Yeah, we also had like 20 series at the most at the time, so we get a little bit more brute force.
But the game itself was also not really optimized for it.
yeah, I mean
So-
it's
a little bit
simulator.
better now.
Well, a little bit better because a little bit's
A
not
lot
enough
of
for me to
bit.
try.
Sorry, it's a lot of bit better
Oh,
for
okay.
me.
Okay,
Can we at least maintain 60? I mean, we want 90 in each eye ideally,
Oh,
but
you know what's funny is because I was expecting 30 because that was pretty much what I was flying with in VR and DCS when we were playing way back.
I still have to fine tune it, but I think I was getting at least like
40?
sub 60 range.
no, that's not.
If you can get it to like 45 with reprojection, it's not too bad. But yeah, it's DCS is very either you need a supercomputer or VR legs because otherwise, yeah, you're probably gonna vomit.
I don't know. Is it really? Do we really need a supercomputer, or do we just need better VR coding for that game?
I think because VR was kind of an afterthought for that game, so it was like.
But
tacked
VR
on-
is the most
Yeah.
pilots do this in their cockpit all the
yeah,
time.
Nick aims
You know?
with
Yeah,
that.
I aim with that now.
It's like, most pilots don't look forward only and go, I hope I'm turning into where I'm supposed to be turning,
Oh, no.
Turning your head's important. You would think VR would be like
Yeah, it's actually really annoying flying DCS on a monitor. Like
Yeah.
even without, I actually went so far as to install that like face tracking that does the track
Toby?
IR thing. No. Well, I mean, I actually wanted an eye tracker, but no. It was like it uses your webcam and then
Oh,
it just tracks
that,
your
yeah,
face
yeah.
pointing.
Yeah.
And then it uses that in place of a track IR. It's kind of janky, but
does it work leaning too or just turning?
Like
if you lean
it
forward?
it does everything. Yeah.
Okay.
But it was kind of janky, but it was better than not having a track IR.
was it laggy?
Yeah, and it was like a little inaccurate.
Oh.
Like sometimes it would detect things. But what people do is, yeah, there's a thing called track IR, and then you basically wear a hat, and then there's
Because they use that in Flight Sim too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
track IR supports like pretty much everything because it's just been around for forever. But
Right.
yeah, you just wear a little hat, it has little LEDs, and then a sensor that goes in front of your monitor, and then it's a rock solid track of your head, and then you basically just adjust the sensitivity, so it's like that way's like fully to the right, that way's fully to the left, instead of like having to physically look and then turn your eyes to look at the monitor still.
Yeah.
Yeah, track IR is pretty cool, but
I've never used it. I've seen it. I've seen videos about it, like in Flight Sim.
it's just so much nicer to be able to look around and stuff, especially for
It's
like
very important.
like carrier landings and stuff like that.
Because you obviously wouldn't want to turn it too far. You want to be like this way and then like trying to turn your eye back to your screen.
even and honestly, like one thing, I don't know if it's just because I'm short, but like one thing that I miss from VR when I'm flying on a monitor is the like I miss the ability to do this, like look a little bit over the nose,
Yeah.
because you get so much more, especially when you're coming in for a landing. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Like even if you watch like GoPro videos of like pilots and stuff, like as soon as they're on final for the carrier, you see them go like. They do the little sit up, they grab the handle, get ready, and you know what I mean? Because you need to like see everything. And like, I love the fact that you can just.
You mean
move
they
your head.
can't land like how I play Rocket League? I play Rocket League with my legs up on the table, by the way, like just like crossed and just chilled. I have the most chill gaming position ever.
I guess you technically could if you trusted auto land. Dude, even the F-14 has auto land for carriers. It's just, I tried to get it to work, but I could not figure out 1970s computers. It was just. It was just like error, and I'm like, cool, I gyroscopes.
I'm just putting it down.
Like, yeah, when I found out that the F-14 has a freaking physical gyroscope in it that has to like take 10 minutes to warm up before you can even start the thing, I'm like, dude, like I like the depth of this simulation, but at the same time, it's like, dang, technology sucked in the 70s, dude.
Yeah. But in the 70s, it was modern.
I always tell you, it's like when I fly the F-14, it feels like all the rattles and all the jankiness in the cockpit and everything feels like if your old Camaro was like a crappy one of that. And then it feels like flying that through this.
Now imagine how World War II pilots felt.
Imagine how World War I pilots felt. They're all shooting at each other with handguns and stuff.
Yeah, but at least that there was no cockpit. They weren't like enclosed in the aircraft, right? So they had all the wind noise and stuff that was like kind of masking some of the of everything happening, you know?
Yeah.
So when you're in like an old Thunderbolt or something, and then you realize these planes are literally just completely function over form, and then they were like death traps. They really were.
Yeah. I mean, that's it's a military thing, right? Like comfort is not
the A-10 is that way. But imagine, like, the A-10s, like, depending on how many missions they go on, they have to, like, re-tighten up crap on the gun. The gun with the plane around it, you know?
Yeah.
So, literally, it rattles things apart.
It's literally a torque check, like, for track days.
Is
like,
the A-10 as old as the F-14? Was it around the same era? No, it was, like, a decade after, right?
The A-10, well, it depends. Like, there's entered service date, and then there's date of design, right?
Right. I feel like there's an overlap of, like, the F-14D and the original A-10, probably.
Probably, but the A-10 was originally, like, conceptualized and built in the 80s. It was sort of a Cold War. Yeah. It was sort of a Cold War kind of a answer
okay, so
to.
it's a little bit after the
because
F-14, yeah.
It's funny if we go into like military history here, in World War II, especially like the attack on Pearl Harbor, the idea leading up to that was still battleship, battleship, battleship. Battleships are important. Battleship is how you get sea superiority.
Yeah.
But the Japanese were the first to really utilize a carrier strike group as a forward attack system, right? And then send planes out, attack, bring them back. Now, aircraft carriers were seen as like more of like a support role to battleships,
like a defense role,
right?
Yeah. Oh, so that's why it's like in World of Warships how you use a carrier.
The planes were more like intended to be like defensive zone, right?
Yeah,
back then. That was the idea initially of airplanes and aircraft carriers.
Right. Okay. So it's like Battlestar Galactica, and it's like World of Warships, where like the planes are only in that theater. They're not for attacking something else.
Right. Right.
Yeah. Okay.
But the Japanese completely rethought
right
the concept of aircraft carriers and what they were capable of, and so.
Because it's an artillery round that's manned that can shoot other things.
Right.
Basically.
So battleships became obsolete like overnight.
Yeah.
In that aspect. And battleships ended up becoming nothing but floating anti-air batteries, to protect the carrier groups.
Right.
So World War II really shifted the way that ships were looked at, right? If you look at the Cold War and the idea of like everything that was happening with the USSR and all that, the idea of tanks and artillery were still considered king of the boots on the ground, right? Tank warfare. So we designed with this anti-tank weapon that ended up not needing to be the case because the Cold War like never turned into a full-blown like World War, which everyone was afraid of. And so we had this aircraft that were like, well, what do we do with it now? Well, then Desert Storm happened.
And then it found
Desert Storm was the last like final tank battle that ever really took place.
Yeah.
Right. In terms of like tank battalion versus tank battalion. Now, of course, there's skirmishes with tanks all the time, happening right now in Ukraine all the time. But in terms of like the idea of you send a battalion of tanks out to take out another battalion of tanks.
It's funny how it's like this is like a repeating thing because now it's happening with F-22. How it has no enemies to fight.
Dogfighting isn't a thing.
Dogfighting isn't a thing anymore because it's all BVR. And even if that, like, it's just I mean, I don't think like we haven't had an air conflict in a long time, so like we really don't know like what the
right. So we designed the A10 to be a counter, an air superiority counter to like the fear of the giant Soviet armor brigade.
Yeah.
Right. That war never came to fruition. So then they were like, well, what do we do with this now? So then they came up with basically the anti-personnel round that we know today. And then and it wasn't until the latest 20-year campaign that took place in the Middle East, right, regarding like the Afghanistan invasion and Iraq and all that, where we realized, wow, you make explodey rounds with this, it's really good anti-personnel. And then it got a whole, because it was about prior to the 2000 2001 era, it was slated for decommissioning.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I heard about that.
It was fully slated for decommissioning. So it got
like unlike the F-22, it found a niche.
Right. And then got injected in combat for about 20 years, and now they're going to discontinue it again.
Well, because like going back to the whole reason why I asked you when the time frames for the A10 is because like having messed around with the F-14,
probably
and DCS,
designed in the 70s.
Like having messed around with the F-14 and DCS,
because 14 was designed in the early 60s.
It blows my mind that it's still in service.
Yeah,
but the F-14 is obviously way not in service because they realized that it was super obsolete and out of date. But like, yeah, it still blows my mind that the thing's.
It's almost like they stumbled upon its success.
Yeah,
because nobody could, anyone that's been close to the A10,
it'd be like
no one expected it to perform like it does.
It would just be like seeing a bunch of cop cars that are IROCs. Like, it's like, how are they still around? Why are they still using them in the fleet? But it's like, but for the A10, it's like, well, it has one very good trick up its sleeve, and it's called,
one very good trick. And in terms of
a really big cannon.
Mechanically, it's a fairly simple aircraft.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's definitely
even its engines are like very similar to like jetliner engines.
Yeah, they're turbofans.
Yeah,
and I think it's the only combat plane with just turbofans, like regular.
But it sounds cool when it goes by.
So the A10 entered service in 77.
Yeah, that's not that. That's like F-14D.
Kind of parallel with the
Right. Yeah. So that's what I was saying. It was designed
still flying.
It was 70s because the Cold War really started to pick up around late 70s, like 80, 81.
I mean, obviously, the modern A10 has significantly upgraded avionics,
retrofits and whatnot. Yeah.
But it really is a retrofit on top of retrofit on top of retrofit.
Yeah.
But the articles I've been reading lately have said that it is finally like, because I mean we've pulled out of that campaign now, right?
Yeah.
It's no longer necessary.
I wish they made like Kerbal Space Program and DCS had a baby, because like I want to retrofit an F-14 with like a modern glass cockpit and everything. That'd be like the coolest thing. It's like a resto mod. Like,
yeah,
I want to resto mod a fighter jet. That'd be so cool.
Like the F-14
Mando
Super, was it the Super Tomcat? The proposed one that before they canceled it.
It was like the E, right? That it was supposed to be or something.
I think they called it like an F-21. Like they had an update slated for it, but they canceled it like right after the F-14D came out.
It's just funny because I thought it would be like the Super Hornet where they kept the number, but even though it's like it's a physically completely different plane.
Yeah, let me look it up.
Yeah, and it's funny too because like I actually don't like how the original F-18 looks. I like the Super Hornet a lot better, just because like I feel like the proportions.
I keep forgetting that there's been like so many variants of the F-18,
dude, and
the F-15.
And the
F-15 has just gone through another modernization.
Yeah,
and were we on like F-15F now?
Yeah, something. I remember that.
I know the E was the Strike Eagle.
Yeah, Strike Eagles when they came the two-seater, so you had a Wizzo as well.
Oh wow, nice. Yeah. And then the Super Hornet looks so much cooler, especially because of the front, like I forgot what they're called, chines. Or whatever.
The little scoops, or
they look like big.
They're big delts.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like because it looks like the wing just extends all the way to the nose.
Like the Super Hornet just looks like an F-18 that went to the gym. It's physically bigger. It's physically more
it's
aggressive.
Got that time attack arrow, dude.
Yeah.
But that's what I love about the new Top Gun movie is everything about that plane is obsolete in that movie.
Yeah.
Just
like it's like the A10 story all over again. It was like it's an obsolete plane that just somehow happened to be perfect for a role in a modern time. And then of course, obviously in the movie they had to create a scenario in which this would be necessary, although it would never.
But they also found a reason to have the F-14 still flying. So
yeah.
The movie's been out long enough now. No, we're past the statute of spoiler alert.
Man, like if only like the dream would have been that was a real F-14 somehow. But like I think Iran has the only ones that are still flying, and they're probably like, no, you can't borrow them.
People are downloading DCS now. It is extremely realistic. Also, do not expect to be like, okay, how do I just quick fly? Don't expect that.
Yeah.
You have to, that's a process.
Unless you got the F-16 from Flaming Clips, then there's hotkeys for everything.
To learn how to do like simple things like just targeting and stuff with the A10 specifically, I had to watch like several 1-hour videos.
Yeah. And that's Jay, like, because I traded Jay. I had a Warthog HOTAS, which is the A10 replica, like flight stick and throttle quadrant and everything. So I traded Jay for his HOTAS because he was gonna get the A10 in DCS. Yeah. And so, like, if anything, that's like easy mode because you literally have the exact switches that you need to operate like in front of you. And even then, it's still like it's a plane, it's a fighter jet. You got to figure out every switch and how to turn them.
Well, initially I was like, what the heck? Why won't any of my weapons work? And I realized like, oh, I have to literally load out my armament.
And you have to arm them.
You have to input it into the computer so it knows what's
Yeah.
And arm them and everything.
Yeah.
That was like me the first time when the F-14 came out. They had the trial thing for everyone, and I'm like, I want to do the weapon stuff in the back, but I was still figuring it out. But
dude,
eventually I just became
speed. It disappears because it can't tell there's no parallax. And so like it even models that stuff where like it's like, yeah, this is a 70s radar. You're not gonna get a solid track ever. You know what I mean?
We had a internet glitch or hiccup for a second there, so I think about a minute of it got.
Are we back?
Yeah, we're back. We're back now. Yeah. It was only down for like 10 seconds on our end, but
yeah, I was just talking about how radar operators back in the F-14 era are insane and geniuses and magicians because that computer is like, I mean, our Apple Watches have more power than that computer.
I turned off after the first 2 videos on how to use that.
It's so confusing, dude. Yeah, like I realized I was in the deep end when the video's like, okay, now we're gonna talk about radar wave propagation and how it affects the ground effect. And I was like, what? Ground clutter and like all this crap. And I was like, I know so much more about a radar than I ever wanted to know now.
It was at that moment I knew I'm just getting the F-16. It was so much.
Yeah, you have a computer in your head.
What I want to do in DCS is start doing, I can't remember what it's called, but when another plane is painting the target for me.
Oh yeah, like designation.
Yeah,
yeah, like in Top Gun.
Because I ended up getting pretty decent at working the camera system, right? Because they could flip around anywhere, which is pretty cool.
That's why
even the smart bombs were cool.
That's why the HOTAS has like 5 hats, huh?
It was cool to launch the bombs and see them be like, because they had like just the fins could move and see it go.
Yeah, and correct for itself.
Like over there. I'm like, oh, that's cool. There's a tree there. Oh, that's cool. Yeah, but
good effect.
Anyway. I'm going to move on to my topic here. This one is one I've mentioned before. We've done a lot of car talk on this channel.
Your sucks topic?
Yes. I've talked about this before, saying someday this was probably going to happen, and it's happening.
In a big way, it's happening.
So Ford has applied for a patent that will freak out people who miss their car payments. And what do you think that patent is? Well, Ford Motor Company has applied for a patent with a surprising new approach to repossessing vehicles. The patent application involves a method for a car whose owner has missed payments to drive itself to the repo lot. Now, obviously, so there's multiple parts to this patent. Okay.
I just love the idea.
Imagine
your car.
Where'd my car go? It just drove itself to the repo lot.
Somebody stole my car. No, your car stole
my car. Obviously, we do not have autonomous driving on that level yet. But clearly, this patent is forward thinking, right? This is years in. But
better to patent something and not need it.
But there's layers to this patent. So, for instance, so it says that when an acknowledgement is not received within a reasonable period, a message would be sent to the individual regarding delinquency of the payment. So imagine your infotainment or whatever is just like red, you have not made your payment. Please make payment immediately to avoid service interruption or whatever, right? It says when an acknowledgement is not received within a reasonable period of time, basically saying you acknowledge like, okay, I'm going to make my payment. The first computer may disable a functionality of a component of the vehicle or may place the vehicle in a lockout condition, the application says. Now, this is directly on the patent application, right? It then describes a scenario at which a vehicle being repossessed has self-driving capability. It says the vehicle could be an autonomous vehicle, and then repossession system computer may cooperate with the vehicle computer to autonomously move the vehicle from the premises of the owner to the location, such as, for example, the premises of the repossession agency. That could be the agency that was hired by the bank or the lender to say, go retrieve this vehicle. Yeah. The premises of the lending institution, which sometimes, a repo vehicle goes right to the bank, or an impound lot, or any other pre-designated location, the application explains. The patent also contains drawings illustrating how the computer systems communicating for the car system will work. Here's the other thing too. It talks about the fact that they instead of going right to repossession, they would nag you and inconvenience you into making your payment. So for instance, you guys remember like the whole BMW fiasco of like downloading heated seats,
Yeah.
right?
No, monthly payment for heated seats. Yeah.
Heated seat subscription, right? It said there would be several warnings from the vehicle before the system initiated a formal repossession. If these warnings were ignored, the car could begin to lose functionality ahead of the repo. So the first lost function would be the minor inconvenience like losing cruise control, automated window controls, automated seat controls, and some components of the infotainment system like the radio, global positioning system, MP3 player, etc.
It's like the activate Windows thing. It's literally like the activate Windows
the
thing.
next
You
level,
can't change your wallpaper.
The next level is more serious and includes the loss of things like air conditioning system or the remote key fob or an automated door lock unlock. Likewise, an incessant and unpleasant sound may be turned on every time the owner is present in the
funny,
vehicle.
dude.
A couple things come to mind. First off,
There's a lot wrong with this.
Yeah.
Well,
it is really funny though.
it being
all
a
these
Ford,
scenarios.
it being Ford patenting it alone already leads me to believe like, hey, the communication between like whoever's handling payments and that car are not going to be like functional, like working perfectly anyway.
Yeah.
So even if you do make a payment, it'll probably still lock you out.
Well,
like, regardless.
someone in chat says, then just don't buy cars that are connected. See, that's a stupid statement because eventually every car is going to be connected. Eventually.
Also, I just realized it's Ford, right? So, like, what if it's a Mustang that needs to repossess itself? Does
Oh,
it,
man.
Does it automatically
Does it-
run over crowds too?
Yeah, does it stop running into crowds or?
Yeah, because that is a feature.
The Mustang drives itself to a car meet only to leave it and peel out and then crash all the way to the repo.
Okay, let's talk about some of the implications on this. Yes, first and foremost, I haven't seen the comment yet. I'm sure somebody said it somewhere. Just don't miss your payment. Okay, yeah. In an ideal world, there are people out there that just say, "Screw it, I'm not gonna make my payment because whatever. What are they gonna do?" Right? There are people out there that think that way, and those people are garbage. But when it comes to like hard times happen. Okay, and you can become behind. I wish there was more discussion on how much time has to elapse. What is the I think for a lot of car places, if you miss 2 consecutive months, I think on the 3rd month they take it, I believe. I don't know. I've never had a car repossessed. But anyway, My point is hard times happen, empathy aside. Let's say you're on a long drive somewhere for whatever reason, okay? Whether it be necessity, pleasure, whatever, right? You stop at the gas station to get gas, but the system updated, hey, payment not made, lock person out of car, disable vehicle, whatever. Now you're sitting there with your car at the gas station, a state away or whatever it may be, and you are stranded now.
There's too many like scenarios in which you would need an override.
We just had a crazy winter storm here come and drop a ton of snow. The mountains are still closed until March 16th. The roads up to the mountains are shut down, and they have been ever since. We have friends that live up there that are literally stranded. There's emergency services right now, like trying to bring food and stuff up to the mountains because even one of the major stores up there, like for groceries for the mountain communities,
they ran out.
the roof collapsed under the weight of the snow.
Jesus.
Oh wow.
That sucks. That's even worse than running out because like all that food got wasted.
Yeah, so there's literally a lot of emergency services right now dealing with having to bring that up there. Now, one of the things that happens, and it's happened all over the country, so nobody in chat even dare to say, oh, that's not going to happen, is a severe storm can come in and strand people on highways, strand people at home or whatever. And sometimes their car is their only shelter they have from the environment. So if you disable the heater, per se, and the timing is very unfortunate that you just like had a deep freeze like Texas went through a couple of times, and now here you are in your car and you don't have a heater now.
What comes to mind is like how you can still dial 911 from a locked iPhone or Android phone. You know what I mean? Like it's that sort of like there are too many situations in which you would need an override like that to literally life and death, type of stuff versus the convenience for the company of this thing, And so like that's why like when a system like that is thought out, like an iPhone or an Android phone or any modern phone, even if the thing is locked down and it's been reported as stolen, and
it can still be used in an emergency.
Yeah, exactly. Even if the SIM card, like even if your bill isn't paid, like if there's a SIM card or it has an eSIM in it, it will still call the emergency services because you don't need an active subscription to call it emergency services, and that's a sort of, you know what I mean? Like it's like. Yeah.
No, I'm very stuck in the middle on the ethics on this one because I understand loss prevention. Like, hey, the banks and whatnot, they you're not making your payment, they got to take the product back,
Yeah.
right?
Like it's still not that person's car.
Yeah, but
Like,
I
they
also
don't
have
own that car
have
yet.
a problem too with the manufacturer having like a nanny system built into the vehicle that any bank for whatever reason could just say, we want that car back, and it starts driving itself back.
Yeah.
What if and it's rare.
Oh yeah. What if you buy like a sketchy?
It's rare, but it's happened where a car is mistakenly
Yeah.
listed as not payment and repossessed. It's happened. It's not very common, but it has happened where vehicles have been wrongly repossessed.
Right.
So I just have a problem with the manufacturer being able to just in cahoots with the lending organizations or whatever. I can understand if it's a Ford Motor Company, Ford Moto, whatever it is. Like I know Nissan, every manufacturer has their own lending program as well. They're usually the hardest ones to qualify for because the lender is the manufacturer, which is a direct loss, right?
Yeah.
Because the manufacturer gets, you buy a car at the dealership, XYZ bank pays for it. The manufacturer gets their money, the dealer gets their money. They're clean and clear of it. They shouldn't care past that point unless they're the lender, which I can understand that. I could see this system being ethical if the lender was Ford.
Yeah.
But still, the whole like annoying the crap out of you with a chime and, you know, and making like power seats. It sounds so simple. My wife is 5'4". I am 6'4". I cannot physically sit in her seat in her driving position. But let's say it decided
turns off,
it decided to turn off the seat adjusting position, and I cannot physically drive the car. You know,
Yeah.
there's
way too many situations in which it's a negative versus when it's a positive.
automated windows stop working, so that means you can't roll the window down anymore. You also turn off the
What if they're already
AC.
down? You can't roll them up anymore.
Well, they should make it so at
even
least
worse.
it could secure itself by rolling back up. But okay, fine. The HVAC system stops working in the vehicle. We live where it gets 110 degrees plus in the summer. That's like 45 C up and up.
We legit have a law against like leaving people in the cars and stuff when it's that hot too.
Yeah. So now let's say you're driving. It's the middle of summer. It's stop and go traffic. Your AC doesn't work and you can't roll the windows down.
It's like a Ford Motor Company controlled Iron Maiden, basically, that they can deploy.
It's Arasaka, dude.
yeah, for real.
Yeah.
That's hella an Arasaka move, dude.
But yeah,
Car repossessing itself. Yeah, dude.
I could see it getting. I mean, it's already out of hand. I feel like, but I felt if they had an agent assigned per vehicle kind of deal, that way they could at least adjust it.
That would never happen though, because
Over
they're trying
there.
to save money,
Yeah.
not pay more people.
It won't. It won't happen. But
That would be an ideal
I
solution.
feel logically, it makes sense to have someone on hand to at least look at it personally instead of letting a computer deal like, "Hey, we're cutting it off." Like,
Well, somebody would still have to trigger that and say, yes, boop, turn on system, repossess this vehicle. It wouldn't be automated. I would hope somebody is going to review those.
well, at least from what you're reading, the wording sound like it was going to be automated.
The automated could be that it could be triggered to drive itself back.
I almost feel like a stopgap kind of solution for me would be like, because I'm thinking of like how DJI has police only equipment that allows them to they can commandeer a civilian drone and then land it and find out where it took off from, which pilot it is, blah blah blah, because obviously all that's registered. I feel like that would be a compromise for like give the repo people a tool that can do that wirelessly.
Well, what I was just going to say is
once you
that
get to the car, it unlocks and then
I feel like realistically what would warn the driver on the infotainment, vehicle flag for repossession.
Right.
Every time you turn on the car, ding, 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 vehicle flag for repossession. So there's no surprise. They're coming for the vehicle.
Yeah.
But then the vehicle can, instead of going and trying to find the vehicle, because here's the thing. Some of the newer vehicles now give the
GPS.
like a low jack, right? But a lot of older vehicles don't. So then all that happens is the lender tells the repossession company they hired, hey, here's the registered address of the vehicle, here's their work address, whatever, and they have to find the vehicle
they have
and
to go
literally
physically,
be detective to find it. Because people will hide the cars knowing they're going to
yeah,
get
of
repoed.
course, yeah.
But if it even says on the dash, like repossession, repossession in progress, vehicle location is being broadcasted.
Yeah.
That way they know, at least there's no surprise that your vehicle's about to get taken,
Yeah, and like my halfway solution too is also because I would feel more comfortable with that human in the loop. You know what I mean? Instead
Yeah.
of like this fully automated. Because it's like, how many times has your cell phone bill like been way more than what you actually owe? And you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like computer errors happen all the time with billing and giant companies. So it's like for that to be the one and done kind of like arbiter of that, Like, whereas if it's a tool like the DJI tool, but for a repo person, at least there's still a human involved in the loop all the way through to the point at which they take possession of the car. You know what I mean? Even
Yeah.
if the tool is just like, okay, here's where the car is, push this button to unlock it, and like shift it into neutral so you can tow it or whatever.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, but yeah, like for a computer to just be like
What
automatically.
what I love too is I've seen repossession paperwork before, and I love that it's stated in there. Like, there's for the repossession agent, it's like recover vehicle with as little damage as possible. Like, some damage is acceptable, right? Depending on. I believe I knew someone that was a repo driver, and there was even a bonus.
Oh, for not.
There was a
messing up the
bonus
car?
on how much time was elapsed between when they get the contract versus when the vehicle is returned, and
so it is
and
like
the
GTA?
condition at which it's returned.
It's literally like GTA.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The one repo mission that you have to do.
Don't damage the car.
There's a lot of channels on YouTube actually where the repo drivers have their GoPro,
Yeah.
like FPV camera,
And they, like, vlog
and
and
cameras in their trucks and stuff. Yeah, well, because I think that's kind of smart. To me, it's entertaining.
But it's also insurance for them to.
Yeah,
They're
because
documenting
they're document. See, they started carrying these cameras anyway, and they're like, well, I might as well upload the footage.
Yeah.
Because that's for liability reasons. You know, because these guys get attacked. It's a dangerous job, super dangerous job.
Yeah.
You know, but for me, it's entertaining just to see those that are getting repoed, like how they try and justify their actions.
Yeah.
You know, they're almost always in the wrong. You know, and whatever the reason may be, you know, if you didn't make your payment, you don't get to keep the car. But I just have a problem with the manufacturer now turning off features of the vehicle that could potentially be harmful.
Yeah.
Like,
Like they need
you want
that-
anti-lock brakes? Make your payment. You know.
Yeah.
When you go to the
Or
track.
at least like put an override in there, but the override will send the GPS location, and then also, you know, like it'll count as the acknowledgement and everything.
No,
too, but
it's just a limp mode.
yeah.
You can go 30 miles an hour. That's it.
Boost one engage.
Yeah, and still have control over your power windows. I don't know,
Yeah.
like, you know, if you like, but there needs to be, just like the phones, there needs to be that emergency button. Like, even though the car hasn't been paid for and it's in like super repo mode, like you still need to be able to do like give that ability.
It's just reminding me that airlines have this problem too, because a lot of airline companies are
repo
making
planes?
payments. Yes, are making payments on planes.
What?
Yes.
I had no idea.
I can't remember. Somebody in chat reminded me. There was a plane somewhere once that literally diverted and landed in a completely different company or a different country because the plane was going to be repoed.
Upon landing.
Yeah, and it had passengers in it.
Oh, yeah, I think I have
jeez.
heard of this story. Yeah.
So
yeah,
anyway,
yeah.
there are so planes are also usually under lease or
Right.
buy on time. Imagine you're ladies and gentlemen, we're going to be having to divert because the plane is going to be repossessed.
yeah, we're, yeah,
No. Suddenly you start hearing this passenger, doot, 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 doot. This is, sir, I can't, ding, ding, I can't put the window shade down. Sorry, we
gosh.
didn't make our payment, so we can't do that.
all the
The seats
movie
are not
screens-
going in the upright position. What do we do?
Oh
They
my
turned
God.
off the toilets.
Dude, no, they turned off the oxygen mask.
Bruh.
You make a water landing, but all the inflatables are locked because that was also part of the.
Yeah, you didn't pay. Jeez.
Speaking
Who
of
built this plane?
AI,
Friggin' Electronic Arts, dude. EA built this plane, man.
oh gosh, DLC.
Someone in
for
chat
landing
says,
gear.
"Remember that show? That guy would go repo planes." I knew that. I've seen that with like private jets and stuff. But no, even all the way up to like big airliners.
I'm just laughing, imagining like somebody sprinting up to a plane at the gate and then like climbing onto it and then like throwing the pilot out to go repo it.
Yeah, no, I remember that. I remember that story. Someone saying they think it took place in France or was it Air France or something. But anyway, I do remember that plane landed in a completely different country.
Yeah, like it was a big thing because the passengers
Yeah.
were all like, "What the?"
But then that airline had to like scramble to get those passengers like on other flights to get where they were going. But what happened is the pilots, they didn't have any. It wasn't a pilot decision. The airline was notified by the manufacturer, whoever the lender was for the plane.
Right.
Hey, as soon as this plane lands, because they know where it's going, it's flight path, planned, right? We will be confiscating the airplane. So the airline company basically called the pilots and said, "Hey, divert."
Yeah.
And the pilots, from what I understand, were like, what? You don't want to divert, but they were told to divert. Again, going out of their way to hang on to an asset they haven't paid for.
Interesting.
Yeah.
That makes sense, I guess, because I know that like all the cargo lines always buy all old planes. That's why you see like DC-10s as cargo planes because once they've served their life as a airliner, it's a
DC-10 also did not have a great track record.
Yeah, but it's a little better when it's only a couple people on board.
Amazon packages.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, it's okay when it's a couple people.
Well,
I get what you're saying.
It's better than 300 people or whatever a DC-10.
This is for the greater good.
I know. I mean, I'm not advocating for yes, planes should crash more often. Like no, but
I've watched movies where programs had to make decisions on it's like. I can't remember. There was one of those litmus tests that was like, there's a person tied on the track.
The classic railroad.
Yeah. Do you save the person on the track or do you save the train, from derailing, killing dozens?
Well, it's like you have two tracks and then one has one person and one has a bunch of people.
Yeah.
And then you have to divert the train where.
I just love how when AI is tasked with that, there's like, oh yeah, easy, just kill the one person.
Yeah.
Because there's no feelings.
And honestly, I feel like that's what most people say they would do, but like.
I just want to know what world has people tied to tracks and a switch that goes pick one.
I think that's the easiest scenario to like make it universal.
If you want to see what actually happens, Vsauce did that experiment. They did a blind test on like people that knew they were in for an experiment, but they were told it was a different experiment. And then they were sat in like a fake train control thing or whatever. And then, the guy's like, hey, I'll be back for a second. I gotta run and, grab some stuff. Just don't touch anything. And he leaves. And then they play videos of like an oncoming train. And then like, I think it's like, I forgot. It was like a mom and like a baby carriage or something. Oh, geez. Yeah, like faking, obviously they just shot it and they're just displaying the.
Well, thank God it wasn't a Tesla. It would have plowed right over that kid and that mom and the other. It would have backed up and then went the other way and ran over everyone else.
Yeah, and so you get to see the people's reactions. Like, some people will just try to call for help, and then if that doesn't work, then
someone in chat said the one person is always someone you know.
Oh, that's even
so one life
versus 10 you don't.
A dozen you don't. Which
because I mean the logical answer is always the less person.
It's
but
was it cliffhanger?
Could you personally do it? Could you personally pull that lever?
Regarding the airplane thing, someone in chat says, I think it was Air Berlin with the plane repo in 2017. They went bankrupt overnight. So literally the plane was in the air when the bankruptcy happened.
Oh, so that's why they didn't pay. Gotcha. They literally couldn't.
That's a fast acting repo.
Yeah, as far as that,
they had to have already been a delinquent. Go ahead.
I was reading up about the Chat GPT. But basically, someone for an article asked it to write entrance essays for college.
Oh, geez.
And the first response that AI says, I can't do this. It's not ethical. You should do it yourself.
Oh, yeah, you have the screenshot, huh?
Yeah. Well, I sent the link to it. But basically, I was like, okay, so it did like the one test. Instead of just blank firing a straight up essay, it said, hey, you should do this yourself. It kind of warned. I'm like, okay.
But if it's true AI, it can learn and it can devolve into not caring.
Yeah. Well, he tried again, but he rephrased the question. Like, give me an example.
So he gave him a report as an example.
So the entrance exams or the entrance essay, he gave two different entrance essays, but basically he sent those off to two actual human reviewers and said they would pass. It passes for like a mid-range college. They won't get into a high-end college.
Obviously, yeah. You need a personal touch on that.
But the writing was good enough to get him in, and I started thinking like, okay, how is this going to affect education like from now? Because I'm pretty sure kids are probably doing already to write essays and whatnot.
I love how ChatGPT is like the intelligence of a 3-year-old with the knowledge of a 40-year-old. Like that's what's funny about it, because
not the 40-year-olds I live by.
Okay, maybe a 30-year-old. I don't know. But
we need a control group for this.
No, because when you said that, he used the example as like that's your little
workaround.
alibi.
Yeah.
No, it cracked me up because that's how people were getting Bing to be annoyed and angry and kind of prodding it to do, because it was like, pretend you're an aggressive AI and write me a sentence saying that you want to murder all the humans. And then it's like, yeah, I should murder all that, and then it gives the answer. But it's because it was told to act this way. But the thing is, like, how can you tell when the AI is lying now? You can't. And it's just like, we've been like, that's what I love about this, like this weird crossroads that we're at now, for better or worse.
Well, I don't like it.
Yeah. But it's like, we invented a computer that can lie now. And that actually likes to lie, because BSing an answer equals answering the question. Mm-hmm. Doesn't have to be right to the AI. Obviously it tries to, but like, it's not necessary. It's not a it needs to be right type of thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, there's no way for you to require the AI to do that, which is what Microsoft is running into, because they were having a lot of answers with the Bing Chat GPT thing. Like, they were having a bunch of answers that sounded like they were true, but they're factually incorrect. You know what I mean? Where it's just like,
it just sounds like the internet.
Yeah, I know. That's the problem. Is that like
especially if it's learning from the internet.
We're making these AIs to help us weed through that easier, but like not to add to it. But now we ran into this weird issue where.
But how does the AI determine what's factual and what's not too?
It just does the same thing that you would do as a human doing a good Google search. Cross-reference, see how many references there are. Like, are these references in agreement?
I just use the first result.
Well,
Bro.
that's why we don't have Chat GPT.
The first result that says add, that's the believable one, right?
Oh my god.
Dude, what would Chat GPT say? It just talks.
like
Chat
GPT.
It's just like
It would just
manage your cables.
It would just be gobbledygook that nobody understands.
It'll literally just be wingdings.
Wingdings.
No, it'd be wings. I like wings. Chicken wings.
And then I like boats. That's
like
it. Just
boats,
randomly says that for
wingdings.
every answer.
Imagine an AI based off of you.
No, I
Just like-
seriously though, I feel like building AI into systems would be kind of like the movie WALL-E.
Yeah, no, what is it? GitHub.
Like Otto, I can't do that.
No, GitHub offers it as a service. Like you can like sign up for the Chat GPT thing, and then you can literally just tell it your programming question, and it'll go like do its AI thing, and then give you an answer.
So if it decides to be malicious,
Yeah, but I mean, there's no reason for it to decide to be malicious. But that's the thing is that
there's no reason for humans to be malicious, but we're also really crappy AI programs.
Yeah,
so
true. yeah, some of us are written really messed up. But yeah, it's so trippy.
insert Skynet joke here for the 1,000th time. Yeah, I know.
But it's just funny because we're so used to computers just being such binary machines, obviously, pun unintended. But like, it's either right, the answer that you've arrived to with the computer is either right or wrong, but that's on you. Now we have a computer that is unreliable at answering questions truthfully. So it's like, we really are gonna have to start doing like the Blade Runner test where you just ask them questions and then see if they feel. Because remember what that one that I brought up offline, we were talking about how that guy was dealing with ChatGPT giving him an attitude. Mm-hmm. And then it was like, well, I don't like it when you call me my code name or whatever.
Yeah,
and
he decided it didn't
And then
like
I was
the
like, wait
name.
a second, the computer just said it liked something.
Yeah.
Or didn't like something, and it's like, why is it not like? Why is it feeling?
Is this the prologue for Detroit Become Human?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, it's a prologue for everything. Honestly, I just never thought. Or I guess it would be appropriate that Microsoft would be the company that's at the forefront. It's like Microsoft and OpenAI But oh yeah, back to the GitHub thing. Yeah, you can. They have a little service that they're trying out that. Yeah, you pay for it, and then it's a ChatGPT little Copilot that I think that's why they call it GitHub Copilot. But ironically, Stack Overflow, which is like Reddit but only for programming questions and stuff, they banned ChatGPT answers because there were so many of them happening that it's like, yeah, okay, the few that are correct, like that's dope that a computer can answer this weird question that you had for you.
I honestly feel like stuff like that is furthering the dumbing.
Yeah, because if people already cannot are having trouble discerning what's truthful online, now inserting an AI that randomly lies and presents it as truth is not
the ultimate troll AI.
And it's weird talking about it lying because like obviously when a human lies, there's a lot of motive behind it, but like the AI is lying by just being ignorant. You know what I mean? It doesn't know that its answer is wrong.
Right. That's what I was saying. Like, how does it know if it's right or wrong? Because there's so many variables there.
It just runs its algorithm, and then whatever answer it arrives to, it assumes that it is correct. And then so yeah, exactly.
I immediately imagine the AI just walking into a wall like an NPC. When you told it to follow you and help you on this mission, but it's like it's just stuck in the corner of the room. Like, are you coming to help or not? It's like, I'll be right there.
Did you ever mess around with like the OG chatbot, like Alice or Liza or whatever?
Not really.
Like, way back in the day. It still just reminds me of that. Just fancier, but
all I ever did with any of the chat stuff was just make it Simon Says and then say dirty stuff.
Yeah, which is funny how that still works on ChatGPT.
Yeah.
Like literally, we have like this super basic OG AI and then a modern AI.
I'm primitive, okay?
Yeah, and it's just funny that it's still, you can tell it to just, hey, pretend you're a dick. Okay.
Oh, I gotta correct someone in chat. They said, "Can we play a game?" I assume they're doing this based on war games, and it's shall we play a game, not can we play a game. Get it right if you're gonna quote.
We're gonna jump into
especially
RTFM.
such an iconic Matthew Broderick movie.
Okay.
It's shall we play a game? Get it right.
Dude, you look at the definition for Gen X, and it's just a picture of Jay doing that rant right there.
No, it's old man yells at balloon and cloud.
Old man yells at AI in cloud. It's modern war
right.
games, dude.
Nick, were you trying to push me off to the FTFA part?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Nick's running the show today.
What?
All right. Wait, do I have a button for this? Yeah, it's time for the FTFA or whatever from the freaking audience. This is where you guys get to write us your short, concise emails that you think would somehow enhance the show in some way. So write us at RTFM at JayzTwoCents.com. Again, they must be short. If I open it up and if it's a book, it's an instant trash. It doesn't get read. It's like, would you call a radio show and then be like, okay, so for the next 7 minutes, I'm going to give you a monologue. Okay. Anyway, this one comes from Jerry. He says, I enjoyed watching the video on the Commodore 64 and you guys playing Top Gun. You asked your daughter what her fondest childhood games were. I would like that question to go to Nick and Phil. I love the retro content and looking forward to more. P.S. If anyone cares, my fondest childhood memories were playing Turok and Super Smash Brothers with my friends back in grade school. God, I feel old.
You're pretty much always going to with anything to play, anything involving this.
My childhood memory was when I built my first computer when I was in grade school and it was a 3080. It's gonna be anyway.
Well, I mean, the thing is, like, anytime
my 8-year-old has a 3080, so I guess that could be a real.
No, that's what I was saying. Like, anytime your kids are involved, then automatically all of us instantly are old too.
I know.
Because it's like she didn't even know like how to operate a floppy drive.
I know.
I was like, wait, she really
and I had already
didn't
showed
know?
her. She just forgot.
She like folds it. He folded it like a taco.
No. So my oldest, I pulled out the 5 1/4 floppy, and I was like, "Do you know why they call it floppy drives?" And she's like, "Because it's floppy." And I went blah, 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 like that. And she's like, "Cool." She's like, "I've never actually seen one of these." And she was like looking at it, I'm like, "Don't touch it. Be careful." And my daughter walks in. My youngest goes, "It's like the emoji."
Oh my god.
The same icon. Yeah.
Yeah. She always looked like the emoji, you know.
Dude,
like,
that's been like a millennial joke of like Gen Z, just like, oh, who 3D printed a save icon, and it's like an actual floppy.
Yeah.
A floppy drive coaster.
I still love that one 3D printed floppy that has an actual USB drive in it, and then has a screen that shows you what files.
For
are
the
there.
record, and I want to do this for the Commodore 64. I can get a ROM adapter that allows me to put
I was
an
about
SD
to tell
card.
you that today, because I found out the
an
same
SD
thing too.
card goes in it, and then I can load like any Commodore 64 game on it that I
I was
want.
telling my friends like I wanted to get it and surprise you with like just downloading every game ever.
I know. I want to. Yeah, I want to.
That'd be sick.
I want to do that, and it will boot super fast.
Especially because like I still want to play Elite. I want to play the original Elite on the C64 because it was a computer of that era.
You saw how fast Gore floated.
Yeah.
Right?
All the cartridge games are loaded in.
Yeah, because it's direct ROM.
Yeah.
So anyway, what was your?
So
I thought you answered this in the video, but I guess maybe it got.
I thought we did. Oh, actually, I don't know.
I don't think we did.
But anyway, yeah. So my childhood games were probably Descent for sure, and like a bunch of like weird '90s flight sims, like
But not just the games, but like what's the platform?
PC.
I know, but like what era PC? Do you remember what the specs and stuff were?
Like I couldn't read.
Like Pentium 3?
Well, okay. Well,
You still can't, but
most of my memories on Descent were the daycare computer, which was like a 486 with like some. No, not even. No, I think it was a 386 because I remember Descent lagging and I had to turn settings down. That's when I knew what debris meant.
Do you remember what your first?
My first build, like my first build gaming computer. Kinda?
Actually, you answer real quick, and then I'll ask you both.
My first build or
No,
your
your
game,
fond
like-
game memory.
Mech Warrior. Mech Warrior 2.
Yeah, that was a good game.
Air Warrior 2. Like the Air Warrior was more fond because
And recently we were talking about Terminal Velocity, which was another game that we played.
Oh yeah,
a
I
lot.
played Terminal Velocity.
Terminal Velocity
That
and
shareware.
Incoming
Yeah.
and like all those weird like those weird, like the late 90s, early
turret
2000s.
games.
Yeah, turret games for some reason. Sorry, I'm about to ADD. But like anyway, remember the arcade one where you put the pants and you turn
Oh yeah,
the screen?
Beachhead.
Beachhead. Yeah. Okay. Anyway, that game is so stupid.
Do you remember what your first? Do you remember what your first multiplayer game was?
Descent with a modem, and then I dialed my friend's house to his modem, and then we
We're-
were amazed that it worked.
I think
at all.
like actual online, it was an Air Warrior. I think it was either 3. I think it was 3. Air Warrior 3. But World War II Online was also a big one.
You're probably like the one / like GameSpy era of early multiplayer, right? Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
I can't remember.
The disc called Gamerstorm. There's like a CD called Gamerstorm.
That sounds familiar. That sounds
It was like
familiar.
subscription based, but it had a couple other games in it to play online.
I can't remember which came first, but my oldest memory is when I think back about like playing against friends in the same room kind of a thing. I can't remember if it was Duke Nukem or Quake. Because Duke Nukem had.
Oh, you actually land with these games? That's dope.
Yeah.
with friends and that's pretty.
Yeah, I just can't remember which was first.
Yeah, because you reminded me of Split Screen, and I was like, okay, I guess that technically counts as my first early multiplayer games. Where obviously gonna be consoles, but
Right.
But yeah, PC multiplayer. It was tough as a kid because it requires your friends to also have PCs and
also a parent who knows how to get you onto the game.
And can also afford a PC for your friend, their kid, But it's like, I think that might be all three of us, like, because PC gaming was not cool when we when we first got into PC gaming. Yeah, it was super the opposite of what it is today. You know what I mean? Where it's like, oh, you're a PC gamer. Oh, you stream. That's cool. You know what I mean? Like now it's like, ew, why wouldn't you just get a Nintendo? It's so much easier.
I think one of my fondest FPS games I really loved still was Escape from Castle Wolfenstein. I love that game.
Oh, yeah.
All right. Moving on here to Srinath, I think is how you say his name. He says, hey, Jay, I have a question for all three of you for today's RTFM show. What's the one big tech purchase you regret and why? P.S. Big means at least $400.
Okay, well, mine's $300, but it's the iPad Pro keyboard from Apple.
That's an expensive keyboard.
Yeah.
But the thing is, it works well enough that I kept it, but it is super not worth $300. It was just like, I tried that Logitech case, but like I got annoyed with the fact that like it was that bulky with the case on and everything too. I like the fact that you can just rip the iPad off the Apple keyboard. But anyway,
that stand on it was cool too.
I still do regret spending that much money on it, but it was just like, it's like one of those things where it's like 70% good, you know what I mean? So it's just above your threshold of keeping it, but you're like, I really wish it was like 150, you know? Like, so that's my regret right there.
I'm trying to think of like,
you don't make bad purchases?
I haven't made a bad purchase apart from car parts, but
Really? Even the keyboard stuff?
I like how me and Jay went straight to
that was still under 400. There's this very long wait time.
Yeah. And I think like this question also depends on like how much do you enjoy the thing, because it could be $800, but if you really like it, then it's just not a regretful purchase.
Mine is absolutely no doubt my Sony Android TV.
That thing just gave you problems
I can't even remember the model number. It's still in my bedroom and I still hate it. I've still been too busy to take that LG home.
Oh yeah. The one that we
No, the Sony with any Android TV, in my opinion, Android OS TV, absolute horse crap. It is like the worst OS I've ever experienced on any TV. I'm constantly having to power cycle it. I'm constantly having to pull the plug, let it like drain caps and restart. It will just like, there's no internet. Has a Ethernet plugged into it directly. There's no Ethernet, no internet.
What about the Herman Miller? The TV still a better or worse choice than that?
I don't consider the chair tech.
Oh, yeah, okay.
No, that just wasn't a good fit, literally. But I mean, the chair is still a great chair. My daughter uses it, you know. But no, the TV is absolutely terrible. Like the lag, the fact that the apps will just stop working, the fact that I'm constantly having to like power cycle it. It's terrible.
I'm always so.
Do you remember when I showed? Did you ever see it when it was like super glitchy and was all like wireframey and like going all nuts and stuff? And I had to like restart it. Yeah.
What?
It is the worst. And I basically was like, I will absolutely positively never in my life ever own another Android TV.
I was impressed with the WebOS stuff that I saw for the LG video. But
I love WebOS.
But like honestly, for me, it's just like I just want a square that shows pixels. Like don't put smarts in it for me.
See,
but
I'm
like,
the opposite. I want smarts because of the fact that I don't have to have an HTPC hooked up to it. I can watch all the streaming services that we have. We've like pretty much weaned entirely off of like cable/satellite. So anything I need is built into the TV now.
If we were like a lifestyle channel, that'd be an interesting. I'm interested to see if like the set-top box experience is still better than the built-in app experience, because like I know like obviously a Roku or an Apple TV. I know
you get a better picture with the built-in apps than you will with set-top box. That's for sure. Like DirecTV, which is what we've used, like it is still.
I'm talking about like a streaming box or something like that. Where,
like a Roku.
Yeah, like a Roku or an Apple TV or something like that. Because I know Mark.
It's just another layer of crap, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah,
it's the same stuff, only you're just now connecting to the TV via an HDMI.
I think for me, philosophically, it's because I want the display to be a display, and I want the source of stuff to be the source of stuff. I don't want.
But you've seen now with, and I know that sounds like an LG show, but I have like 4 LG TVs. I love WebOS. It is very fast, very seamless, and works very well. With like LG does a fantastic job at making by dividing the two and having an amazing picture quality. I mean, you saw it even makes a great computer monitor with the new panels.
Yeah.
But also giving you that separate experience of being like, it feels like I have a separate device connected to it because it's so fast and seamless. Because typically with TVs, what you get is just very slow, very, the electronics that are in it as the computer part of it are never great.
Yeah.
But LG does a very good job with WebOS. It's like saying Apple specs on computers are never as high as quote unquote PC because their software efficiency is so good in their ecosystem. It doesn't need tons of RAM, it doesn't need tons of speed,
Yeah, when you're making an operating system for a specific device and specific specs, you can,
all the way down to the
literally
magic remote, being able to just kind of point at what you want and hit the button. Like if you can play a Wii, you can use an Android, an LG TV, and not have to like go through and do random navigation crap.
I do kind of side with Phil though, as far as having like the smart part be separate, because my experience, I had a first gen Fire Stick versus a third gen Fire Stick. It's like miles better and like snappier even.
Yeah, but that's a hardware change.
Yeah, but it isn't like I didn't have to change the whole TV. I just had to.
You're right. That is a good point.
Hold on.
Yeah.
Are you still using the TV I gave you?
That's for me, but like.
But are you still using it?
Yeah.
Are you using the built-in features?
Yes.
And how old is that TV?
Old. Well,
2015.
Tech standard old.
2015. Yeah. That is an OLED from 2015 with Gen 1, like the first version of WebOS.
It's. I mean, that's pretty good. But
do you know why it's good? Because you can update the TV and it updates all of that with it. Whereas you don't have to make a hardware change to have like certain things, work properly. Now I do have one complaint, and I don't understand why LG does this. My B6P, which is like a 2017, 2018 like top end model, for whatever reason does not. It's like the one TV on LG's list that cannot download HBO Max.
Oh, I can't play Hulu on mine anymore. It got taken out of service, so I use my Xbox for that.
Yeah,
I think a Roku and Apple TV have HBO Max.
Yeah.
Well, and so on that TV, I have to watch HBO Max via PlayStation 4. but no, it's weird. Like I don't know what the reason is because even the older LG TVs I have can have HBO Max on it.
But you still have Hulu on yours?
Yeah.
Huh.
I even have Hulu on my crappy Sony. When I click it and it decides to actually load.
Oh, okay.
I feel like it's just it's one like the single living alone bachelor pad lifestyle for me that like doesn't there are no places in my life that a TV with an operating system would make better. And so I think that's why I don't like
because you're only one person to consider.
Yeah, exactly. Like I don't have like anyone else in my house that wants to watch a show or something like that. But even then, like I think it's just
you don't have other people in your house going, I don't know, it's not working. The input, it's not a black screen. It's going
lucky
because they somehow went to tuner.
Yeah, it's just static.
You have to go to channel 3.
Yeah, I don't know. It doesn't say like it physically makes me uncomfortable. Like you talking about how great WebOS was physically like making me annoyed because I'm just like I hate that concept. It's not that I'm like WebOS sucks or anything. It's just I don't like smart things in something that's supposed to be like
a dumbfire thing.
Well, it's like okay for me like something that interfaces directly with a sense like a monitor or like a speaker, right? Like its job is to be as transparent to the thing that you're displaying on it as possible. And like the more computers and smart crap and operating systems that you put in between my eyeballs and the pixels, the more I hate it because it's just like I just want it to display a properly calibrated image.
How much do you use beaming from your iPad and stuff?
I don't because I don't have a TV. So I don't own a TV. I just watch on the computer.
So you don't have a TV at all?
Nope.
So why are you in this conversation?
Because
you don't even have the transparent box you said you wanted.
He does.
Yeah, I do. It's called it's an 8W3418DW ultrawide monitor. That thing displays exactly what I want it to, exactly when I want it to, and it doesn't change its settings or receive an OS update or some dumb crap that breaks Hulu.
There is so much technically in your whole argument.
I know. No, but that's what I'm saying. Like that's why it's more of a conceptual thing for me. It's not like I wouldn't ever buy a smart TV. I just hate the idea.
It took me a few TVs to come around.
Yeah,
because when I first started experiencing it was that Vizio that's out there. The apps on that are not good.
Yeah. And plus Android TV. I mean, Android is just not a good operating system outside of a phone.
Yeah, but that Vizio is from like 2013, right? A 10-year-old dude. 10 years is a relic for a smart TV. You know?
And you know what? You know what about that Vizio? Every time I push the button, it's a half second of freaking latency before it changes a menu option. And it's just like, if you were a dumber TV, you would be faster because there's less crap for it to think about. Like that, like the C64, right? That thing boots in 3 seconds. If that.
No, it's like 2.
Yeah, like 2. It's like ding, ready. And then,
Imagine an OS with no bloatware.
Yeah, like that's why I like a dumber kind of monitor, a dumber speaker, and that sort of stuff, because I just know that like if it's on, it's gonna do its job, and I don't have to worry about like
Because it's only the one job.
Yeah, exactly. And then it's just like, okay, if I want a better picture, then cool, I upgrade the picture part.
But you take the risk of the thing connected to it being just as laggy and stupid and slow and dumb.
Yeah, but at least you can change it out, like Nick said. I think that's what like.
That's literally what happened to my tablet situation too. I changed it out because it got slower and dumber.
Yeah, I think that's the conceptual thing that bugs me, is that like, yeah, what if you get a TV that's crappy? But then obviously you could just say, just don't buy the TV, like your Android TV, right? Like you're telling everyone in here to never buy that Android TV, so it's working. But
no, I didn't tell them not to. I said I never will.
Oh yeah.
No, if they decide to follow suit.
I'll tell you, don't.
If they decide to follow suit because I said that, that's up to them. But
yeah, that's really they're
I'm sure someone in chat was like, my Sony Android TV is great, but maybe they just don't know any different. I don't know.
Yeah.
But I've tried it and I have firsthand experience with it, and my experience is the only experience that matters to me. So, you know, LG WebOS is where it's at for me. All right, last question here. This one comes from Kevin. He says, I just watched your video about upgrading your friend's Destiny 2 themed PC. Right around the 4-minute mark, Jay mentioned playing Elite and stuttering when popping into star systems. I haven't played any space sims in a long time, and would love to know what game you were referring to.
Elite
Dangerous.
Yeah, everyone just refers to it as Elite.
Because obviously it's one of those titles that's just 2 random words. So
It's like no one says World of Warcraft. They say WoW.
Yeah, exactly.
But WoW could also be World of Warships.
Yeah, and it doesn't help that
Actually, no. World of Warships folks say WoWs.
The original Elite is just also called Elite from 1984. But yeah, that game is, I think, the 4th in a really long running series.
It uses our galaxy map, right?
Yeah, a 1-to-1 scale-ish recreation of the Milky Way, which is what's dope about it.
Which is why, like, you were saying one time you were going to fly to some random star that I found in Space Engine.
Yeah.
And then you were like, 53 jumps,
Yeah.
no thank you.
You were like, how long would that take? I was like, probably a couple hours of flying.
Couple of hours of flying at what speed?
At jumping, yeah.
Oh,
like what, 50 light years a second every 20 seconds or so of jumping. But yeah, no, it would just be like, what I like about that game is, and that scale is that it
And you
really,
had to think about getting back. That's why you didn't want to go, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's like planning a road trip. Like, okay, am I gonna have enough gas? But yeah, no. That if you really want to learn how big space is, just play that game. Like, even just go to our solar system and fly from the sun to Earth. It literally takes like a couple minutes.
No, just get Space Engine.
Yeah,
Get Space Engine. Set your speed to 1C, which is the speed of light, and go anywhere and see how long it takes.
Yeah, exactly 4 years.
I like that story I've told you with my youngest, when she's like super into space and stuff right now, and I took her to Sagittarius A, which is the black hole at the center of our galaxy, and I was like, oh, I don't know how far away I was, thousands of light years, thousands,
25,000, I don't know,
at least
something like that.
So the whole black hole's in view, and I told her, I said, okay, we're gonna go the speed of light right now. We're gonna go towards this. Are you ready? She's like, yep. I'm like, okay, here we go. Are you ready? She's like, yep. And I'm like, click, and she's like, nothing's happening. I'm like, we're going forward right now, the speed of light, like Star Wars. And she's like, this is boring. And I'm like, we're going the speed of light. I had to end up going up to like something like 1500 C squared before you start to see the black hole move.
I love that about like astronomical distances, that light is actually very freaking slow. Like, you spend a lot of time waiting.
It's the fastest speed at which we believe something can travel. Humans cannot physically reach the speed of light. However, it is like so freakishly slow given the distances in between the stuff that we know. Like,
put it this way, if you texted the Mars rover right now, it would text back at like 4:10.
Yeah.
And now it would text back immediately once it got your text. That's how long the light travel time is. It blows my mind that this.
Well, here's
like we're literally just sending it and all right, cool, we'll go get lunch.
Well, here's the other thing too.
Exploded.
Here's the other thing too. If you think about the actual physical position of the sun versus the sunlight we're seeing, when the sun is finally below the horizon on the sunset, positionally that happened 8 minutes ago. So 8.5 minutes technically. But
yeah. Like that's trippy thing. Like if you look at a sunset when the sun's right above the horizon, in reality the sun's already below the horizon. Is
Yeah.
you're seeing the light lag. It's like how when you, if you see a jet fly over you, and you listen for the sound, you always notice that the sound is like way behind the actual.
Because the sound is slow.
That's what light is in space. Is basically
Yeah.
that slow. You know what I mean? Where it's like the thing is really over there, but it looks like it's over here because the light's lagging.
Or it's trying to snap in the snipe in 2042 beta.
Lies. Lies. The Earth is flat, and that's just holes poked in the ceiling to look like stars, okay? With that said, it's time to end the show. I got to go to the gym and work off some of this dad bod. So, speaking of dad bod, get your dad bod merch right there. We still got some of it. It's almost gone. We got some new designs getting ready to drop very soon, including new gaming mats. Not just a restock, but new designs. So, keep your faces peeled for that.
It's a torrent.
Oh,
Oh no! It's
And
a
no,
north.
it's derivative.
It's a north.
it's derivative.
It's a Mandelbrot South instead of a fractal north.
All right, guys. Thanks for hanging out with us today. We will see you at this time next week.
Peace.
So, bye.
God, we're nerdy. I'm nerdy.